While I've been trying new stuff, I've found some interesting stuff. So these are the states or inputs to my neural network. But it used to be look like this, where I used to feed all the relative positions to water and food because I've got these number of water and food inside the environment. So I was feeding all the relative positions to them, but I kind of knew that I don't really need to do that, but rather just feed fewer nearest relative positions to water and food. And I've been trying things out, and it has ended up with this where I only feeding nearest water and food relative positions. And I've just started training my AI, so the performance is not quite well, but I've already tested this before, and the performance was same or maybe better. And I guess the reason is I used to use, by doing this, obviously number of inputs has decreased from 75 to 20. So the neural network has found easier to generalize or to learn because it's fewer inputs. It's, yeah, I think it's easier to find, or it takes less time to find the global minimum. And yeah, I think less is more, and definitely, I mean, yeah, I don't really know if this is the main reason, or maybe performance. There is no difference between, there is no difference in performance. So maybe the result, the performance are same, but it works like it used, like it performs like it used to with fewer relative positions. And also, if we look at how I make my AI find or collide with water and food, I use this function to find closest water and food, which returns index of closest water or food, and I use that index to compute the difference between current distance to water and previous distance to water relative to AI. So if the current distance to water is smaller than previous distance to water, this would be positive, so he gets rewarded. If otherwise, this would be negative and he gets penalized. And so as you can see, I only need the closest one. The other non-closest water and food. So water and food not our closest are pretty much ignored or not being used. And maybe he may switch between one or two water that are closer to him. So he may use two nearest water or food, but definitely, for instance, if he's here, this function gets computed using these water, but the water here are not really used, and like, I mean, from our perspective, if we are human and we are trying to get water, I did some research, but water and I mean, if humans and animals also try to reach the closest resources. So if we are standing here, you may go for this water, at most maybe here. I mean, the quality of water and other things are really ignored in this situation. But so what I'm trying to say is I just want my AI to find or collide with closest resources as much as possible, and I use this, and all the non-closest resources are pretty much meaningless. And also, if we search for these states, I don't really use them other than recomputing using recomputing like this on every frame. But if I'm not using states like this, where here if the hydration is less than 99%, I toggle or switch the reward system, and same goes for hunger. So my AI agent, I guess, implicitly knows he depends on these states, and these states influences how he acts or choose actions. But if I don't use these states, like these are not dependent. This is definitely independent on his actions, even though I feed as an input. So I thought just by feeding to neural network, even though I'm not really utilizing like this, it was I thought things were fine, but so in fact I am still passing relative positions, but maybe I could just remove all the relative positions because I'm not really using it. So, and I'm really need to apologize because I'm not able to show you that this really works with fewer relative positions, but really trust me, I tested before, and I mean, as you can see, I think he is trying to go for food. Like he's not wandering around somewhere or jittering. I mean, at least I think he's trying. So yeah, all I wanted to say is maybe when doing this kind of project, you may think you want to feed like distance to some targets or relative positions to targets to neural network. But yeah, it may not always be the case. Or maybe, yeah, maybe I could utilize these states somehow. And I haven't really found how to use them. But yeah, it was quite surprising that the performance is pretty identical. So anyways, yeah, this is it, and thanks.